Hi everybody, it's Judy here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, and I'm really super excited to be bringing today's video to you. I know I say that every time, but it's another plant haul, and plant hauls make me really excited. I'm not just excited because I got new plants, but I'm also very excited because these are all the plants that I purchased from my online store, That Foliage Life. So this is the first video that I'm filming since launching my online shop, and I want to say thank you to everybody who has congratulated me, who has sent me private messages and wished me all the best. And for those of you who have placed orders, you just make my small business owner heart sing. Absolutely sing. So if you don't know what my online shop is about, I'm going to leave that video linked down below so you can go check it out if you're interested. No pressure at all. I'm still getting used to the whole marketing side of things, and I'm not really good at like pushing myself and being like, hey, here's my shop, buy from me. I'm not very good at that. So I'm just going to talk about these plants because I'm very excited to have these available on my online shop, and it's by far the biggest plant haul that I've ever done, by far, ever. And you already know, some of these babies are going to be staying with me. I've had someone comment before that plant hauls aren't a huge interest to them because plants are new to the person talking about them. They aren't going to be able to give any advice about the care needs of each individual plant. But a lot of these plants I actually already personally own, with the exception of a few. So as I take each plant, I'm going to be talking about the care needs of each of them. And if you go onto my website, under each listing of each plant, you will see the care needs of each plant listed in that description. So you have a bit of an idea of whether or not you're going to be able to care for this plant before you purchase. Thank you to my friend Liz Quico for suggesting that. I really appreciate your feedback. And so yeah, the care needs of each plant will also be listed in the listing on the website. Okay, so let's start with plant number one, which I'm actually so in love with because it's so adorable. This is a Maranta leuconeura. This is part of the prairie plant variety, and I love how she's just so cute and lush at the top. I say that word lush on my channel a lot. I was listening back to one of my own videos and I'm like, I use that word lush a lot, but if you have any other synonym for the word lush, leave it in the comments, I want to know. So this is a Maranta leuconeura, part of the prairie plant family. These plants love to be showered. So whenever you water your Maranta leuconeura, and this goes for prairie plants, Calathea, Stromanthe, Tenanthe, those variety of plants love to sit in the shower for their watering. And they don't like their soil to dry out like completely. They love high humidity and bright indirect light. They don't like bright direct light. The brighter the light, the more like faded and yellow the leaves will be. They'll probably burn as well. So because the leaves are very thin and quite delicate, they're not going to be able to absorb as much light as, like, for example, a ficus burgundy rubber tree with a nice thick, almost waxy type leaves. Those can absorb light a lot better. Whereas plants with thinner, delicate leaves like this cannot handle too much bright direct sunlight, or any bright direct sunlight at all. They still do need light, however, in order for their coloring. For plants that have more striking colors like this Maranta red vein, for example, if you want those colors to come through, they're still gonna need light, but more bright dappled or indirect light. So that's just a little bit of care on this Maranta. These are actually very, very easy to propagate, and I have another one like this, and I'll just show it to you guys. Okay, this one is my Maranta, and this one was actually the same size, or almost the same size as this one when I first got it. But what I did with this was I chopped and propagated the cuttings back into the pot. You can also take cuttings from it, root it out in a glass of water, and then pop it into the pot if you're worried about watering levels for the existing plant as opposed to the cuttings, which will need moist, there's a fungus gnat, which will need moisture in order for them to root and to take. So that's just a little something to keep in mind. This Maranta was really small when I first got it, and I got it a lot more full at the top by planting cuttings back into the original pot. And now, and I'm still gonna keep doing that come growing season, I'm gonna keep planting cuttings back into the pot to get it a lot more full. And then when the top of the pot, the surface of the pot is full, then I'm gonna let it start to grow and vine out. So this is an idea of what this could potentially turn into with the right light and the right conditions. I'm loving how these leaves are starting to come out with the black markings. They started out like this, and I'm guessing it's because the plant was really young. But then also when I started watering my plants with the Thrive fertilizer, which is the new brand that I'm using, it started to actually push out leaves with the black markings on it. So that was really impressive to me. I love this plant. It's so cute, it's so adorable, and the light is coming in and out and messing with my lighting settings. Thank you, sun. I love you and I appreciate you, but if you could just like mellow out your mood for a minute, I'm filming. Thank you. The next one is this Maranta red vein. It has a few curled leaves because I accidentally broke a stem off it and I just stuck those cuttings, the stem, back into the pot. It'll root out eventually, and as soon as those roots develop and start to break through the node, it'll start to absorb all the moisture and those leaves will like be fine again. I've done it before, it's worked fine. But this is another plant that I have in my shop, and by the way, I'm not selling this one in my shop. This is one that I'm keeping because I did break the stem. But I love this Maranta. It's so beautiful. It's actually really easy to care for. Very similar care to the leuconeura. They love humidity, bright indirect light. They don't like their soil to dry out too much. Feed it during the growing season, although I personally feed my plants as long as they're pushing out a new leaf. And they're just one of those plants that really speak to my soul because of the patterning on the leaves. They're just beautiful. It's like a painting. It's like nature's painting. God did a really good flex when he created these. Beautiful. All right, the next one is one that I actually don't really know the care for because it's a different one. It's one that I don't already have as yet. This is a Paleonia. This is also known as a watermelon vine, and like I said, I don't really know the care of it, and this is probably one that I'm going to be keeping as well because it's different. I wanted to stock it in my shop because it's different and it's actually so beautiful. It's quite small in this pot, but it does have the potential to be quite large. They love bright indirect light and humidity, and that's as much as I know about them. So I'm gonna have to try it out and see how it goes, and hopefully within a few months I'll have an update for you guys on how that one's going. I only bought two because I wasn't quite sure about it. So I'm keeping one and I'm selling the other. This is a Codonanthe crassifolia. I also got this one because it was different. I don't have anything like this. I'm not entirely sure what its care needs are because I don't have it yet. But what I love about it are the waxy leaves. It has thick waxy leaves, almost like a Hoya. It's reminiscent of the Hoya. Well, its leaves are anyway. The stems are a little bit more delicate. These are actually tropical plants. They love humidity and they love bright indirect light. Given the right conditions, these plants will also flower, but I don't think that the blooms live very long. They just kind of like come and go very quickly. I just love the leaves on this. They're quite waxy and quite thick, and I can see that this plant has the huge potential to be quite beautiful when it's large and mature. But right at this moment, it's a bit of a young plant, needs some nurturing and needs some love. Okay, another plant that I don't yet have, and this is definitely one that I'm going to be keeping. This is a variegated wax ivy, Senecio macroglossus variegata. Look how stunning and cute the leaves on these are. It's just so dainty and delicate and cute. And it's got a fair bit of pink on it as well. I know with this ivy, they are quite prone to spider mites. So this is something that you're gonna keep an eye on if you have any type of ivy in your home. I'm going to be spraying this down, like well and truly spraying this down with some neem oil and some Vitality Plus, which is also a pest prevention spray or pest management spray, which I also have for sale on my website. These plants like bright indirect light, not direct, because then that will kind of burn the leaves. The leaves are quite delicate and waxy and soft, so it doesn't want light that's too strong on it. It'll make the leaves go really soft and mushy and yellow out and just possibly make it drop all the leaves. So bright indirect light, it actually likes the soil to dry out completely as well. So easy care plant. Really super easy. Just the thing is you want to keep an eye on the pest management with these. Just spray them down regularly with some neem oil. That's what I do with all my plants. Like, I have dealt with pests before, spider mites, mealybugs, gnats. My management of that is just to spray the plant down with neem oil every single time I water, and it's helped keep the pests at bay so far. It's been quite effective. And that's what I would recommend with this ivy if you do have this one in your collection. It's so cute though. It's adorable. I'm in love, absolutely in love. The leaves are so cute. I have a huge ivy growing outside my house, growing along the fence. It's like a complete vining plant just growing all along the fence. And this one sits in bright direct light all day long. It doesn't have waxy leaves though, but I can see that it has the potential to be quite invasive. So I think maybe you might want to keep your ivy in a pot, maybe not plant it out in the wild. That's okay. I'm not going to be planting this outside because any plants I have outside die. I'm not an outdoors gardener. I'm definitely more of an indoor plant gardener. All right, moving along. I've got a lot more plants to cover, so I'm going to try and not spend too much time on each one. This is a Monstera siltepecana, and I already have this. You've seen me talk about this variety of plant many times on my channel. This is my siltepecana that started out in a pot like this. It was like 2 cuttings in a pot, chopped and propped it all back into this, and that's how big and full and lush, that word again, lush. That's how I got the top of this plant really full. I'm gonna continue pinning the vines down, planting propagations into the top of this pot until it's like really super full. And then I'm gonna let it start to trail out and vine out the sides of the plant. Then it'll start to vine down the sides of the pot, much like this devil's ivy here. This siltepecana is a super fast grower. It likes its soil to dry out between watering. It likes well-draining soil, filtered light, like bright indirect light. It's okay with the normal humidity. It'll thrive better with higher humidity, but it's generally okay with the usual levels of humidity in any average home. But look how lush this one is, how long this one is. So for example, if you purchased a vine like this, you could chop and prop it back into the top of this pot. But this vine is all the way tangled, like all the way up the hanging thing. It's gonna take some time to detangle that, but you already know that this vine is really super long. If you purchased a plant like this, you could definitely take the cuttings from it and just grow another whole new plant from it without having to wait for it to grow. And the beautiful thing about this is I think it's like under $30. Its care is very similar to pothos or vining philodendron. Super easy to grow and super fast to grow as well. All right, moving right along. This one is a neon heartleaf philodendron or a cordatum. I love how striking its foliage is, and one of the leaves actually has a tiny little streak of variegation there. It kind of looks like a Brazil philodendron, but it's not. It's just a variety of philodendron. It's growing up a pole here. It's got a lot of aerial roots coming through as well. These heartleaves like to have their soil dry out between waterings. It's a very general care plant, and it's very easy to grow as well. If you wanted, you could take the pole out. You can let the vines hang down the sides of the plant. Depending on how you want your plant to grow, it's really up to you and what kind of space you want your plant to be in. You can have it grow out the pole, or you can unpole it and let it vine down. Let it hang down. I personally like vining plants to be vining plants, but also remember that if you want your plants to have bigger leaves, give them a stake, give them a pole to climb up, and the taller they grow and climb, the bigger their leaves are going to be as well. So that's just a little tip. If you want your plant leaves to grow really big, give them a pole, they'll get bigger. This is a Sansevieria hanii. I think that's the variety of it. What I love about these is that they are so multi-planted. This pot has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. This plant has like 11 plants in it. The beautiful thing about this is Sansevieria are so easy to take care of. Neglect. Don't overwater them. Just water when the soil is dry and then some. These plants will push pups out from the base, so the more root bound it is, the more it'll push pups up from the base. And then when it's really super full and growing out of its pot, you can take it out and like soil separate it and create a whole new bunch of little plants. The whole bunch of Sansevieria in this variety that I purchased from my shop, they are full, really full like this. And I think for the price they came to, it was a real bargain for these plants. I'm probably gonna keep one of these for myself as well, because you know what, I can't not It's so awesome. I get to buy all the plants from my shop and share them with you guys, and also get to buy some for myself as well. So did I talk about the care of this? Soil, dry out, and then some bright indirect light. It can actually also tolerate bright direct light. These grow natively outside in bright sunlight, and they grow really well in that too. You're going to want to acclimate it first before you subject it to that level of light. You're going to want to slowly bring it into that instead of chucking it straight in a spot that gets bright direct light. Just kind of ease it into it. They like their soil to be well draining, soil that doesn't hold water for too long. And yeah, it's generally pretty easy. I like to dust the leaves off so they can photosynthesize easier, absorb the light easier. But other than that, these plants, I literally just forget that I have them and have them in a spot. Just water them when the soil is super duper dry. Yeah, really super easy plants to take care of. Sansevieria, beautiful, love this. It's so structural too. These are the kind of plants that do very well in a corner all on their own, and just let them have the spotlight instead of having it in a whole bunch of plants like this. And these are all plants I still need to talk about, so I need to move on. Moving right along. Let's move along here. Okay, this one is a philodendron, a Florida green philodendron, and this is one that I don't already have, and this is one that I'm going to be keeping for myself. The care of these is very similar to any other philodendron as well. I've got the Congo, I've got the black imperial, I've got the red imperial, the Birkin. These are all philodendrons, and the care of this one is the same. Bright indirect light, water when the soil is dry. It likes good, well-draining soil. It doesn't like its roots to sit for too wet too long. These ones are also plants that are climbing. They can grow up a pole. The bigger that this gets, the more it's gonna hang down if you don't give it a pole to grow up. So it really just depends on the space and what kind of aesthetic you would like your philodendron to have. But yeah, the bigger it is, it's just gonna grow out like this horizontally if you don't give it a pole to climb upwards. Again, they're not really super fast growers, I've found, for me personally anyway. Maybe they are for some people in different environments with more tropical environments, but for me these aren't really super fast growers. But look how stunning these leaves are, so beautiful. What I love about these pots as well, they arrived to me and they were double planted, so there's 2 plants within the one pot, which means it'll be even quicker for your plant to grow out really full and big and bushy, rather than one single lonely plant growing within the pot. That's what I like to look for, and I'll probably create another whole video about that, like what to look for in plants when you're purchasing them. But yeah, this one's beautiful. I'm definitely keeping this one for myself. So I got a few philodendrons alongside the Florida green. I also got some Birkins, which is this one here, and I got a green princess, which is this one here. So care is exactly the same as what I just mentioned before, so I'm not going to go through it again. But what I love about these green princesses, they are multi-planted in the pot. So that's why the plant itself is so full and bushy at the base. This one looks a little bit smaller because it is, but it's only got 2 planted within the pot. But you still want to make sure that when you get a plant, it has at least 2 plants inside the pot. You'll probably end up paying a little bit more for it, but sometimes you find those bargains where you'll see a batch of plants that are meant to only have 1 stem in them, but sometimes they have like that sneaky little seedling on the side and essentially 2 plants in the pot. Just keep an eye out for those. That's something that you want to look for when you are purchasing plants. So yeah, green princess, Birkin. The Birkin is stunning. Like, look at those leaves. This new leaf that's coming out has a lot of white on it, and it'll throw out a lot more of that, I think, as it gets larger, as it matures. So this is what I'm talking about with plants that have one single cutting in it. This is a mini Monstera, or you could call them a Rhipsalis tetrasperma. This one has only 1 plant inside the pot, but then these are the plants that you get for like cheap, like below $10–15. This one has the potential to grow huge. This is also another vining plant. You can give it a pole to climb up, but if you don't give it a pole to climb up, they will go out, like out that way. If it's a double stem plant, it'll go out that way, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. This is my mini Monstera, which isn't very mini anymore. This will turn into this. Given the right care and the right conditions, they can get quite big. I don't know what I'm gonna do with this, if I'm gonna give it a pole to climb up or just put it in another space to just grow out on its own. It's just so, it's getting really big now and I don't know what to do with it. Maybe I'm gonna chop it back and plant the cuttings and sell some cuttings, maybe, who knows, maybe. So, mini Monstera, very, very mini still. These are very general care plants. Water when the soil is dry, bright indirect light, humidity levels. It likes humidity. Most plants love humidity, but these ones aren't too fussy without it. Yeah, not much more to say about these. They're very, very easy to grow, given the right conditions. Like, I know a lot of people say, oh, easy care plants. Easy care doesn't necessarily mean you buy it, you put it in the spot that you want it to live and then forget about it. Easy care is once you've given it the right conditions, like bright indirect light, water when the soil is dry, feed through the growing season, make sure that it's in well-draining soil. Those things, once they've got those, then they thrive. They're really easy. It sounds like a lot, but it's really not. Once you've figured out the general care needs of plants, they're gonna thrive. They're gonna be okay. You're gonna be okay. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Just watch more videos. That's what I did. I watched all the videos and now I've got this. All right, this is a Tenanthe, burle-marxii. It is so beautiful. This is what my burle looked like when I first got it, and now it's huge. It's like this big. It's really big, and these are so easy to take care of. These ones love higher humidity than most other plants. This is part of the prayer plant variety. Bright indirect light. Doesn't like its soil to dry out too much. But other than that, they're really unproblematic. I make sure that I dust off the leaves of my burle so that it can absorb light a lot more efficiently. I don't have it in a bright indirect light spot. Actually, it's in a little bit more of a lower-ish light spot. In relation to my house, it doesn't really get the rays of the sun on it. It's that far enough away from the window, which I would call medium to low light. But it's still growing all right. It's still growing fine. I don't let the soil dry out too much, and they like to be showered. It's another thing for these burles. They're so cute. Look how adorable these plants are. So cute. You know what I realized the other day? I don't have a lot of small plants. I have a lot of larger plants, but they've all outgrown these 4-inch pots and grown into like 6, 8, 10, 12-inch pots. Yeah, I need to get some more smaller plants into my collection because a lot of my small pots are sitting empty in the cupboard. They're all the big ones now. Okay, next one. This one is a white butterfly Syngonium and it has 2 tags in it. That's interesting. Someone double tagged them at the growing house. White butterfly. They love bright indirect light. Water when the soil is dry. I'm gonna be saying this over and over and over, but it's the general care of most plants, you guys. Syngonium are tropical plants, which means that they love humidity, so just make sure that you're providing that for them. These are also very fast growing plants, so as the new leaves come through, you're gonna see a lot of the older leaves die off as well. So if you see a lot of yellow leaves in the center of the plant at the base and they're yellowing, don't freak out. It's most likely just an older leaf dying off, as long as you are also aware that you're not overwatering or underwatering your plant. Through time, you will learn to speak their language and they will speak back to you and let you know what they need. These are also very easy to propagate. The taller they get, the more it'll vine out, not unless you give it a pole to climb up. And what I love about this is that it's so full at the base of the pot. It's not one lonely little plant sitting in it. It is so full. Look how beautiful that is. It's so pretty. I have a lot of luck or success with Syngoniums. I just water them when the soil is dry, man. Like, they're actually so easy. All right, this one is a Tradescantia, also known as a wandering Jew. These arrived to me so long and full. I'm really happy with the nursery or the grow house, the greenhouse, the wholesale suppliers that I purchased these from. I'm really happy with them. Look how beautiful and long these are. Again, this is Tradescantia. These grow like weeds, so just make sure that if you are going to be putting it outside, maybe keep it in a pot, not unless you want it to like take over your whole entire backyard. Over time, obviously, you can catch it in time because they don't grow overnight. They are very fast growers though, so just keep that in mind. Tradescantia love to be watered. They're very, very thirsty plants, especially if they're going to be outside. You can also very easily chop and propagate this plant. Take cuttings, plant them back into the top of the pot, and it will be a lot more full and lush. These plants also get quite leggy if you don't give them enough light. So you'll see the internodes get really, really super long if they don't have enough light. It'll be just, it's its way of telling you that it's looking for light. So also when those plants get leggy, chop and propagate them back into here, or create a whole new pot and share it with your friends, or just have multiples for yourself. So yeah, Tradescantia, also known as Wandering Jew. This is a variety. No, it didn't say exactly what variety it is, but I know it's a Tradescantia. All right, next. Monstera monkey mask. This is the fussy sister of the Monstera adansonii. You'll be able to tell the difference between the monkey mask and the adansonii because the monkey mask has like more curly leaves, whereas the adansonii has a lot more flatter leaves. The leaves don't curl with this one, and the leaves get a lot bigger with the adansonii. Adansonii, really super easy plant. This one's a little bit fussier. It likes high humidity and it doesn't like its leaves touched or left wet. So while I do water my monkey mask in the shower, after I take it out of the shower, I make sure that it's sitting in a place with really good air, really good ventilation, and let the leaves dry off in record time. I don't let water sit on the leaves for extended periods of time. It also doesn't like to be sitting in water, which most plants don't anyway. It doesn't like to be overwatered, so let the soil dry out, not completely, just kind of like almost dry, and then water it. Yeah, it is a little bit of a fussier plant, but once you figure it out, it's actually pretty easy. It's not one of those plants that needs constant attention. In fact, the more you touch your plant leaves in general, most plants don't like their leaves like touched and fiddled and played with, especially when there are new leaves coming out as well. Don't fiddle with your plant foliage too much. They don't really like that. As a general rule, like hands free, hands off. I'm guilty of constantly touching and caressing and petting my plant leaves. Sometimes I break leaves, especially the young ones, so I just kind of try my best to keep my hands off them and just let them do their thing. This monkey mask is so cute though. Look how adorable those leaves are. So cute. Oh, also another difference between monkey mask and the adansonii is if the leaves are a little bit more pale or a little bit more yellow than the adansonii, those come out a lot more of a deep, darker green, whereas the monkey mask, these sit more on the pale green spectrum of green, and that's kind of how you can tell that it's a monkey mask, not a adansonii. Moving right along, this one is a spider plant of the curly variety. English. This is a spider plant of the curly variety. I forget what the scientific name of this is. Chlorophytum comosum. Chlorophytum comosum. It's easier to say spider plant. These are so easy to grow. Let the soil dry out. It's very easy to propagate as well. As it matures, it'll start to grow little baby plants that hang down the sides of the plant. You can cut those, propagate them back into pots like this. Super duper easy, and it's so beautiful too. When these get big, they get big, and they are beautiful as hanging plants as well. Not really much more to say about these. They're so cute. I love how the leaves are so curly. I think these plants are adorable, and they're so little too. Look at him. One last one, and this is another one that I am going to be keeping for myself. I've still got them available on the website. Like, I'm not buying them all and keeping them all for myself. I'm only keeping one, okay? I don't have to justify this, okay? This is a Rhipsalis, a variety of Rhipsalis. It doesn't say exactly what kind of Rhipsalis it is. I know there's different types, but this is a Rhipsalis. It's almost like a succulent-y type plant, and it almost looks like a cactus, but the spikes aren't spiky. They don't like hurt my fingers when I touch them, but it's so cute. I don't actually have anything like this, but considering that it has very succulent-y leaves, knowing that tells me these plants don't like to be overwatered. Let the soil dry out between waterings. It will love bright indirect light. It looks like one of those really easy care plants for me. I think the only way you could really mess up this Rhipsalis or any succulenty or thick waxy typed leaves is if you overwater them. And I know there's no danger of me overwatering my plants because I'm a very busy person and I sometimes go for months without watering some of them, sadly. I feel like a bad plant mom sometimes, but it's better to underwater your plant than overwater. I mean, it's better to just water them as they need, but it's easier to bring a plant back from underwatering than it is to bring a plant back from overwatering. Generally, once it's overwatered and it starts to rot, that's it. There's generally no saving of that plant, not unless you cut it up and propagate it. But once the base or the stems of that plant is rotted, sad to say that's generally it for your plant. So better to go along the path of underwatering than overwatering. Anyway, Rhipsalis. I don't really have much more to say about this because I don't own one yet and I don't know the care of it yet. Isn't that just so adorable? It's a little plant too. Like I was saying before, I don't have many little plants. Yeah, that's the last one. Huge plant haul, you guys. Biggest one I've done yet. It's kind of like a biggest one because I am selling them on my shop, but it's still a big one in terms of the amount, like the variety of plants I got. That's a lot. That's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I enjoy talking about plants and just looking at them and talking about them and just sharing them with you. And I'm so excited that I can actually, I'm so excited I choked. And I'm so excited that I can actually share them with you. If you are in the Bendigo area or within Australia, I'm now shipping within Australia, I can share these with you guys and I'm so excited. So thank you for watching this video. That's it. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Stay safe wherever you are. I hope you are healthy and well and happy. And if you're not happy, buy a plant. That always fixes things. Well, not really, it doesn't fix things, but it definitely helps. Get the buying serotonin flowing, okay? Well, that's it. I gotta end this video now. Thank you guys for watching. Please like it if you did, subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye! I've got my green tea to help me calm down. Knowing me, I'm probably gonna knock this right off the table. The anxiety is doing a real number on me today. What am I anxious about? I have nothing to be anxious about. This one is a Senecio. I think that's, oh no, it's not a Senecio. Is it? I'm not sure. Senecio, let me see. Yes, Senecio macroglossus. This is a Sansevieria. This is a mini Monstera. And I'm so actually, English.